What I like to use for my bread pans is a stainless steel pan. The bread works best if it's a heavy, thick pan. It just bakes better. And so I use this. They're about $8. And so what I do is I disinfected my countertop, and because I don't have a real like a good cutting board, I just find it's easier to work on my countertop. So this bread is really sticky, and so what I do is I'll divide it into 6 pieces. I spread out the bread, smush it to get out the air bubbles. Then I take one side, and I roll it, and I tuck in the ends. Roll, tuck. And it's a pretty tight roll that I'm doing. And then I pinch the ends, and I tuck in the ends. Just like that. And I might be able to see an air bubble, so I just pinch it. Then I put it in my pan. My kids at school, they love wheat bread, but sometimes in the lunches, they didn't like it because peanut butter might come through, or you might see the jelly, and kids are used to high processed foods. So what I started doing is with 2 of my loaves, I would turn them into rolls, and I would just shape them into rolls, and then I would let it rise for about 3 to 4 hours, and then bake it 400 for maybe 12 minutes. And because they were in the roll form, they looked more processed, and my kids would have it every day. And then my husband, who's really into eating healthy, you can actually take out the middle of the bread from the rolls, and that works too. To add variety, at this point I would also melt butter, like a third of a cup, a third of a cube, and I would just brush it on, and then put on cinnamon and brown sugar. You can put pecans in it, you can put in berries if you want to make it extra fancy, but if you just want cinnamon bread, put it in, and you'll want to roll it out very fine, because then you get more of a cinnamon taste in. And you just let it rise the same with these loaves, and bake it the same amount of time. And so I can, with 6 loaves, I can have 20 rolls, 2 loaves of bread, and 2 loaves of cinnamon bread. And my family feels like they have variety, and it's just one recipe. I'm very impatient, and I like things done fast. So what I do is I turn on my oven I turn it on after I turn off my mixer. I turn it on to 200, and I let the oven warm up, and then I put this bread in there, and I let it rise for about 45 to 50 minutes. It just speeds up the rising time. But you can do it on the countertop, which is fine. But you want to have it rise about 3 fingers above the lip of the pan. You could do it a little bit lower, but around 3 fingers, and that works well. So I'm going to put my bread into my warm oven, and at this point I turn off the oven. So So I put in the bread in my warm oven on the middle rack. You'll be able to get 6 loaves on one shelf if you put 4 in the back, and 2 sideways. I turn off my warm oven and I set the timer for 45 minutes because I tend to forget. It's been rising for about an hour. This is what my loaf looks like. If you did not do the fast rise method, what you would do is you would preheat the oven, and when it's ready, cook it for 10 minutes at 350 and then turn it down to 325 for an additional 25 minutes. Now, what I do is I don't even want to take out my bread, so I turn on the oven to 350 and I cook it for 15 minutes instead of 10. So when the timer goes off, I'll turn it down to 325 for 25 more minutes and then take it out when it's ready. So now my bread is ready. It smells so good. Okay, so what you'll want to do is let it cool off for about 5 minutes, and then after it's cooled down, you turn it sideways. I'll show you. Turn it a little sideways until it comes out, and then let it cool for another half hour before you eat it. If you are needing to leave during this cooling process, I left my bread out for 5 hours and it doesn't get dry because of the crust on the bread, so don't worry about that part. Anyways, I hope you enjoy your bread. Bye.